It's a great video. Now joining us is Dr. Jason Littleton. Dr. Littleton is an author, family physician, and CEO of Wellspring Human Energetics. Please welcome him for me. Dr. Littleton has a book. It says The Energy Secrets to Do the Good Life. That's great. Yeah, so The Energy Secrets to Do the Good Life. Before we get to that, what did you think of the video? Now, it was down the street from where you went to medical school, right?
Exactly. So that farm was down the street from the College of Human Medicine where I went to medical school. And I've seen that farm many of times. I'm walking to and from school. So, you know, it's awesome to see local farmers producing crops that we can eat that are sustainable. It makes a whole difference.
It really does. And the idea would be, you know, how do we know? So when you look at a label, we talked about, you know, before we went to the video, is how do you know when you look at a label whether you're truly getting organic food? Because are we always getting 100% organic foods? And people don't know. Can you maybe explain
absolutely.
that a little bit to us?
So first of all, you know, our government, the USDA, have three labels when they describe organic foods. There's 100% organic, and you'll see that, it'll say that. And then there's a label that will just say organic. Now those are foods that are 95% organic, okay? And you have to be mindful of that when you're purchasing that. And then there's another label that will just say made with organic products. And those are 70% organic, okay? 30% of it, you know, they are made of other nice ingredients. There's no genetically modified organisms in them, GMOs. But these products, you have to be aware so you know what you're eating. I usually advocate to look for the 100% organic label because that's when you know you're getting the best, the highest quality, the most nutrients, vitamins, the good stuff that you really need to implement in your body.
And is it hard to find? Now, I know that getting the USDA organic, we try to eat organic as much as possible. We go to our general, regular grocery stores and we can find the USDA organic. How difficult is it to find the 100% ones?
You know, it's not very difficult, but here's the thing. You want to go to your local food collective, your local farmer's market. You know, now these days we have things like Whole Foods, Fresh Market, things like that where they're going to produce the organic products and you can come and you can readily get them and make them available. But here's the thing, you have to read labels. I tell that to my patients all the time. If you don't read labels, sometimes you don't know what you're getting. And you want to eat the best because, you know, eating organics really is the message I tell my patients. It's a message of hope. The good things you put in your body will make a difference in terms of the feel, the energy, your quality of life.
And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the good life. And in this book, do you talk about organic foods and putting the right stuff in there?
Absolutely. I have a formula I created. It's called MEDS. Move, Eat, Drink, Sleep. And the eat part of it is talking about eating.
MEDS, right?
MEDS.
Move, eat, drink, sleep. Okay. Okay.
And that acronym, I created that so eventually you want to make that your medication. Now, listen, if you have...
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. You know, if you're on medication right now, if you have heart disease, diabetes, things like that, you need to stay on that. But using these principles will optimize that, okay? It's really a message of hope. And when we talk about organics, as far as the E part of the acronym, we're talking about incorporating that in breakfast and lunch, dinner and bedtime. And then having a snack in between breakfast and lunch and dinner and bedtime. And that's what you need to do to have a higher quality of life.
And so more frequent meals as
Absolutely.
well.
That's 6 meals a day.
Yeah, and so important points Dr. Littleton brought out, talking about labeling. Number one, make sure you know what's going in your body. Number two is that it's easily accessible. People think, they have lots of excuses, like, it's too expensive, I can't find it. So those are really, really going away. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more with Dr. Littleton. Please stay with us.
Dr. Nandi will say that, I'll set an exercise program, but I can't sustain it. So I say, just start 3 times a week, 5 minutes. Just start with that. And don't scoff at that idea because that idea will allow you to reproduce that exercise next week. So if you go for a jog for 5 minutes, you'll be able to reduce that next week because it's only 5 minutes. Everyone have 5 minutes. It's an excuse buster.
Welcome back. We've been discussing the pros and cons of organic versus conventionally grown foods. Our guest is Dr. Jason Littleton. And Dr. Littleton is going to discuss with us why eating organic, we talked about, is beneficial in more detail. But also, I'd like you to maybe go through your acronym, the MEDS, and talk about each of those components more fully. And this is, again, I'd like to mention in his book, The Energy Secrets to Do the Good Life.
Exactly. I've found that when we connect our passions with the lifestyle changes we want to make, we're able to make those changes. So when we have a good why, a good reason why we want to live longer, now it's easy to incorporate those habits to make the change, okay? So my acronym, Move, Eat, Drink, Sleep, it's the execution part of it that you can implement to make those changes. See, my book is really a message of hope. All of us have dreams, we have passions, but if we really connect that with our longevity, now we have the time to do it. So the move part of it is making sure you exercise. You want to be able to at least get out and exercise. Most people, Dr. Nandi, will say that, you know, I'll set an exercise program, but I can't sustain it. So I say, you know, just start 3 times a week, 5 minutes. Just start with that. And don't scoff at that idea, because that idea will allow you to reproduce that exercise next week. So if you go for a jog for 5 minutes, you'll be able to reduce that next week because it's only 5 minutes. Everyone have 5 minutes. It's an excuse buster, okay? Now, that's the move part, but the eat part, again, is all about organics. Eat the highest quality thing. What our foods eat in the soil, that's what we eat. So organics is about harvesting and planting things in nutrient-rich and dense soils, and that's what we want, okay? The other part of the meds formula is the drink. I'm a huge advocate of drinking good water. At home, my wife and I, our daughter, we drink alkaline water. It's studies have shown that it has, led to decreased risk of cancer. And not just that, it helps reduce kidney stones. Alkaline water is something that you can find at Whole Foods. You can buy an alkalinizer. It's something that I'm a huge advocate about. And the last part of the meds formula is the S part, the sleep. You know, Dr. Nandi, number one thing I hear people will tell me is that racing thoughts keep them up at night. And so I try to, use methods, what I call sleep hygiene, to help people get better sleep. And one of the first things that some people might even find radical is that I tell them first thing to do is kick the TV out of your bedroom. Because when you do that,
smart. Very smart.
You don't bring that movie you saw last night into bed with you. What you want to do is that you want to make your bedroom like a spa. When you go and get a massage, that atmosphere causes you to immediately relax. And when you do that, now you're ready to take that big exhale. And you're able to just go ahead and get good sleep, because that's part of your energy. If you eat well, if you drink well, if you exercise well, and if you get good sleep, you'll have more energy. And I'm a huge believer that all of us have natural energy that's just suppressed. And when we bring that out, we'll bring out the buoyant energy. We'll have stronger immune systems, and we'll be able to fight those things such as cancers, any disease that's out there. We can overcome it.
A couple of important points that Dr. Littleton made is number one, move. And I actually even go further. Simple things like take the stairs.
Yeah.
Walk when you don't, walk from your parking lot to your work. Don't find the spot that is the closest. Don't
Right.
fight the guy in the office, with that maneuvering.
Yeah.
I got you. I got the closest parking spot. Walk to
Yeah.
work. Now, will you maybe share one story? We don't have a lot of time, but one inspirational story about any of your
Yeah.
patients that really
Absolutely.
changed their life because of this.
Yeah, the story that I love to talk about is when I actually was practicing outside of East Lansing, outside of that farm that you guys saw, in Mason, Michigan. I had a farmer who was 55, overweight, high cholesterol, hypertension, and he came in and, I said, he was also a smoker, and I said, listen, we got to change some things, okay? We need to rewrite the script of your health. And he looked at me and he said, boy, I get up at 4 in the morning and I'm moving the plow. I'm getting the cows ready, I'm milking the cows, I'm moving the haystacks, things like that. I probably exercise more than you. And I said, that's pretty good, that's nice. But I asked him, my next question was, how long have you been doing that? He said, since 14. I said, okay, all right. So I came back with him with this, and I said, listen, that means you've plateaued. You've been doing something since you were 14. And that's why you're not changing the numbers in your weight, and your blood pressure, and your cholesterol. I said, even though your work is arduous and you work hard and you're out there doing things, that just doesn't cut it. You have to have a dedicated time outside of work where you're able to devote to exercise to change your numbers. And that's why your numbers aren't changing. And when I said this, that clicked. I saw him back 3 months later. He had stopped smoking, his weight was reduced, his cholesterol was better because he set a dedicated time. And not only that, he connected these goals to the fact that he wanted to be around with his grandchildren. So some of you might have goals to go to Australia. Some of you might have goals to be a pharmacist. Whatever it is, you have to connect that why to the life change you want to make. When you do that, you'll be able to make the changes, improve your numbers, and have the hope and dreams that you want.
Absolutely. Well said. And Dr. Littleton, in his book, talks about the energy secrets to do the good life. And you know what Dr. Littleton said to me? Any guesses? He said, you know what? Your audience is so good looking, I'm going to give them each a copy of my book. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Just because you're good looking.
Thank you, guys.
After a short break, we'll meet a woman that says price of eating organic are too high. Stay with us. Nicely done. Thank you.
So I understand eating healthy, getting the nutritional value, getting all the rest and everything is really important to children to give them a good foundation. But just the financial crunch of eating, healthy eating in Detroit is almost little to none.
We're back with you and we've been talking about organic living. Our next guest is Sylvia Hubbard, a single mother trying to support her healthy family, but it's hindered by the high cost of organic living. Yeah. So please welcome Sylvia. She looks lovely.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Sylvia. So I know that you were on our show previously, and you talked about what happened to your family. Maybe just tell them a little bit about what happened to you and what the circumstances were.
Back in February 2013, we had a fire that basically took everything away in less than 8 minutes. And from that, we went from being homeless to transitional homes to just trying to build our life right back, financial crunches, everything. And we finally moved into a brand new home by Habitat this May.
She was in our Poverty as a Disease episode,
yes.
And she was surprised on this show that she was selected to get a home from the Habitat for Humanity in Detroit.
Yes.
She was so surprised. She was so surprised.
Yes, I was.
She had beautiful tears.
You got me good.
She's surprised. And then in May, she moved into her house.
Brand new house,
and she's a proud homeowner. So wonderful. So
in Detroit.
In Detroit.
In Detroit, yes.
In Detroit. So, and you guys are doing well, but you also want a healthy lifestyle for your family, right?
Yes. Well, I understand, with 3 kids, you do understand the nutritional value. You're always thinking about that. And in Detroit being, the most obese city, with a lot of kids there, I know eating healthy is important. I grew up with a father who came from a farm, and when we were young, we did do farming in the city and everything. So I understand eating healthy, getting the nutritional value, getting all the rest and everything is really important to children to give them a good foundation. But just the financial crunch of eating, healthy eating in Detroit is almost little to none. You can't get the healthy thing going. And then on top of that, as a single parent, I'm working 8 to 16 hours a day, and I come home, I just want to eat a pillow. That's all I want to do is eat a pillow, literally.
Tastes good.
So, I need something quick, fast. So we do frozen foods, high preserved foods, canned foods, lots of starches in our pantry basically, because that's what's quick, that's what's economical. And with us, trying to afford a new house, get everything back together, me being the only breadwinner in the house, it's really difficult.
So, some tips for you. I think two big obstacles for you are time and money.
Yes.
So I think for time, and I'd like you guys to both chime in and see some solutions, but cook in bulk. It's easier said than done, but if you have any days off, the one day cook in bulk and make something that will hopefully lasts a few days. Right. The second thing is that you can go to some of these foods. I go to Kroger and Meijer and I find which foods are pretty close in price. You have to go to more than one store sometimes, and pick and choose and find out which ones are acceptable to you.
Right.
For example, some of the vegetables are not that different, but you have to know that and really pick it out. So do the best you can, though. You know, there's no,
Yeah.
the thing that I think Cynthia said, as well as Dr. Littleton, do the best you can. So
Right.
if you can't eat 100%, eat 50%.
Right,
If you can't do
definitely.
50, do 25%. There was a guy who came on the show, he said, if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all
Do
means,
something.
do something.
Yes.
So, you know, I think if you do that, it's easy for me to say you're in different situations, but
Yes.
I think at least it's worth a try. Dr. Littleton, Cynthia, what do you think? What advice would you have for her?
So things like strawberries, blueberries, you know, things with a thin skin, you have to buy organic, okay? But things like bananas, oranges, pineapple, watermelon, you know, you can save money with that. They don't have to be organic. Okay, remember, if it has a thick rind on it, you don't have to buy organic. But if it's
Okay.
thin, like grapes, berries, things like that, by all means, go organic. And that's how you stay away from pesticides, fertilizers, ionizing radiation, those things that can cause cancer
Right.
and can make our health go down.
Cynthia, what do you think?
I'm wondering, are your kids involved with the food prep and cooking?
Yes, I mean, even with the shopping, they get involved. I mean, we don't buy, you know, when I'm going to these stores, I try not to buy a lot of, you know, filled with sugar things and everything like that. But, you know, sometimes I do cut corners by buying the pre-made dinners,
Yeah.
you know, and filling my deep freezer up with that just in case, you know, I can't cook for a couple of days, then at least I know they're eating. They are involved in, you know, cooking for each other and making sure that they are healthy. They're not picky eaters, and that's the great thing about it. I can almost give them anything, and
They're like their mom. They're not picky.
they're not picky at all. You know, they accept the situation, but they know to stay away from sugars. You know, I've been blessed that I haven't had any cavity problems, thank the Lord.
That's all you need, right?
Right, that's
I
all,
wonder
no,
if they can be involved more with the cooking. It might help on time. You know, because
Right.
you said time and money are two issues.
Right, and they do try. They
okay,
do try.
That's great.
Sometimes
I
they
definitely-
forget.
But,
But,
you know, but the message is that the attempt.
Yes.
And you know, and the young lady Cherry Partica told me, said, you know, it's not a overnight thing, doctor. So I was
Right.
talking to her, I said, how do you do this? You know, you do everything, and now you're having organic, you know, products that you put in your skin. She said, it's a process. I started off one day, and just continue to grow, and that's what you have to do. So do your best. We congratulate you on your
Thank
success.
you.
Isn't she
Thank
lovely?
you.
You are. You're
I didn't ugly cry.
You're
I didn't-
We'll take a break. When we come back, the owners of a local vegan restaurant, Vegan Soul, will show us firsthand how to make a tasty vegan meal. Please stay with us.
You are awesome.
What'd I do?
You're good.
A restaurant like Vegan Soul, it's awesome that it's in the heart of Detroit because, you know, research and studies have shown that in some of the inner cities in America, we have higher rates of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, cholesterol, that sort of thing.
We're back and talking about organic food. Vegan Soul is Detroit's first 100% vegan restaurant serving plant-based comfort foods. Take a look with me, please.
Welcome to Detroit Vegan Soul. We are at Detroit Vegan Soul, Detroit's premier vegan soul food restaurant. We are a 100% vegan soul food restaurant.
Kirsten and I started out as a meal delivery and catering business.
People were ordering food from us for lunch and dinner off of our website, and we would deliver to them.
And the demand was just so overwhelming for what we were doing that we felt like we could go ahead and take it to the next level and open a cafe.
We opened the restaurant in September of 2013.
We were taking a close look at some of the diet-related illnesses that existed in the community, the African American community in particular.
So here we use as much organic as we can.
I think my love for cooking developed when I became vegan about 5 years ago.
A lot of people aren't sure how to incorporate plant-based food into their diets, and so we provide a very easy way for them to do that.
Healthy food is not just about eating just salad all the time.
We do things like catfish tofu, barbecue tofu. We do mac and cheese, collard greens. This is the perfect place to try vegan food for the first time.
That was great. Now, rejoining us is nutritionist and author Cynthia Sass as well as Dr. Jason Littleton. Now, the question is, urban restaurants, this is the first vegan soul restaurant in Detroit. Tell us about, what your thoughts are about urban environments like Detroit or Chicago or many urban places, and the need for restaurants like Vegan Soul. And either one of you can start.
First of all, a restaurant like Vegan Soul, it's awesome that it's in the heart of Detroit because, research and studies have shown that in some of the inner cities in America, we have higher rates of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, cholesterol, that sort of thing. So when we can flip the script and change what we're eating, we can make a difference with that. That's true primary care. If we do things right, meaning eating right, then we can change our numbers like I was mentioning before, and we can have better health. And that's where it starts.
Cynthia, what do you think?
It's amazing, and especially with comfort food, because when you think of comfort food, you typically think of maybe meat and dairy, but this is all plant-based food, and they're using organic ingredients in much of this food as well. It's fantastic.
It's really nice. Obviously, we talked about before, organic food can also be unhealthy. I mean, you don't, just because it's organic, if you put a lot of fat products and you can make it, processed, it can be unhealthy, but at least if you have restaurants that give you choices that can make it organic and make it more healthy, the more the better. Now, also the other problem is that a lot of us in the cities have forgotten about organic farming, and Detroit is now doing a lot of urban farming. Maybe comment on that. We need to have our folks in the city learn how to grow their own food again. And both of you live in urban environments. Any comments on that?
This is where we have to support local farms. We have to reach out and do that. So now, conventional farming, the government provides subsidies for that. So that makes it easier for people to go ahead and be a conventional farmer, use fertilizers, use pesticides to help food grow up and be bountiful and more red and that sort of thing. But organic farmers don't receive subsidies. They have to make an investment on their own. So we have to support our local farmer. And one of the ways to support is be a consumer. Go out there, buy their products. The more we buy their products, the more we're encouraging them to keep doing what they're doing. We need them, and that's how the health of our families and our world will be much more healthier, and the cardiovascular risk will go much down.
That's exactly right. You got to support your local farmer, no doubt about it. Cynthia, what do you think?
Absolutely, I agree, and get to know your local farmer. Farmers markets have exploded everywhere across the country, and when I go to the farmers market, I love talking to the farmer, talking to him or her about how they decided to grow conventional, organic versus conventional, because a lot of them have been growing conventional and they switched over at their own expense. And when you ask them why they have done that, sometimes they'll say something like we've seen in the video, I didn't want to have to wear a suit to protect myself against chemicals while I'm growing food for people. And that just hits them, what am I doing here? Or they'll say, my great-grandfather was a farmer, he didn't use these chemicals, why am I using these? Or they see maybe some health risk popping up in their own families or communities, and they make a connection that there's something going on here. So when you meet that farmer that's grown that food and you have that personal connection with that farmer, himself or herself, it really is really helping you to make that connection between how that food is grown and what you're putting in your body. If you're putting something in your body that doesn't have a function or a purpose, it's not going to help heal or repair or maintain your tissue. It's not going to help your cells produce energy or perform a function in your body. That really shouldn't be going into your body, right? So those foods are so much cleaner and and nutrient rich, as we've pointed out. So
and great points that you made, Cynthia. Number one is that make a personal connection. I think that when you have a personal connection, it's number one, you understand the process better. Number two is empathize with the farmer. These people have made a huge risk in going from conventional farming to organic, and often at, like you said, their own expense because they want to do the right thing. So great points. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, the favorite part, for me at least, for the show, which is answering questions from the studio audience. Please stay with us.
What are some of the regulations for me to start growing my own food organically?
We're back with you and talking about organic foods. My favorite part of the show, which is to answer questions from the studio audience. Yes, sir. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Michael.
Michael, what question do you have?
What are some of the regulations for me to start growing my own food organically?
If you want to grow up an organic farm in your backyard, anyone can do that. I encourage you to do that.
And there's lots of great free resources online to show you how to do that. Because I think a lot of us are used to going to the home goods store and buying the synthetic, the stuff that has the chemicals already in it, and you grow that. But there's lots of great free resources to learn how to start from scratch in your own backyard for your own family consumption.
We have a lot of folks that have spent a large part of their lives eating non-organic food and processed foods. It's wonderful to see younger and younger people to be able to do that, because that's what's going to change the whole paradigm. When you start doing that, and then your friends and your colleagues, that's what's going to change the paradigm. And as you said, flip the switch and change what we do to help ourselves. Great question. Any other questions that we have? Awesome. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Doug.
Doug, what question do you have?
My question is, of all the different types of organic foods, which ones would be more beneficial for me?
So Cynthia, maybe have you start with that. What kind of organic foods are beneficial for him? I know we touched upon it a little bit, but maybe you can take a little bit further.
Well, I think, in my opinion, if you eat any animal foods, like dairy products and meats, I think it's very important to go organic. Eggs as well. With non-animal foods, I think the foods that you either eat most frequently, because foods you're putting in your body over and over and over again, or the foods that tend to have higher pesticide residues on them, which, as you mentioned, the thinner skinned fruits versus the ones that you peel and throw away the peel.
If I had to recommend any vegetable, please buy organic kale. And if I had to recommend any type of fruit, blueberries. When we talk about energy, when we talk about cancer-fighting foods, kale and blueberries are life changers.
That's wonderful advice. Thank you both for all your time and attention with these questions. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Partha's prescriptions. We're back with you. We've been talking about organic living today. What can we take away from today's Partha's prescriptions? Organic foods can be an alternative to get great nutrition. Get educated and find out if this is the right option for you. Also, organic foods can be affordable and a nutritious option for you. Become educated and understand what organic labels mean. Look for the certified organic label to ensure that the food you eat meets USDA organic standards. Also, support organic farmers. The process of maintaining an organic farm is very difficult and costly. Your support is critical in ensuring their continued ability to provide excellent food choices for your family. To stay informed about today's topic, learn about healthy living, and how to become your own health hero, please visit us at AskDrNandi.com. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow Ask Dr. Nandi on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest to join our discussion. Lastly, there's a beautiful word in the Hindi language that literally means, the light in me honors the light in you, and that word is namaste. So namaste to each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.